All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, we certainly got some follow through on that sell off in the S&Ps, making a low at 1320.75 at about 3:30 this morning. Were you up there traded that, Dennis?
I was trying to trade a little bit actually, Joel. We're just getting popped up right now here again. Now we're up 6.5 on the mini, so we've had quite the range. We're making new highs right now as we're speaking, 1335.
Okay, looking at resistance here, really not much up to Tuesday's intraday high of 1342, but something tells me, Dennis, we're not going to get another 5 points out of this rally. Coming back on the downside, we have a good swing area here at 1333 and a quarter, which was Monday's low. Going on to the market movers today, Dennis. Just a monumental move for GE.
Gee, really moving up. It's consolidating right in this 19 area. There's a huge institutional seller there in the New York book. That obviously becomes active at 9:30. I think the high frequency and early market traders are looking at that and trading it right up to that level. It's trading 1898 right in front of that whole 19 area. So that'll be the initial resistance, I think, of this 19. If it can, get some follow through and take that out, then maybe you look at some of these highs from last week, which where we were at 1927.
Dennis, I just noticed this with GE. The last time that it got down to this area, this was back in March. I don't know if you remember, but the company came out and reaffirmed guidance, okay, and said, we're okay, our earnings going to be okay. Stock gets a nice pop, okay.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we come back down to the almost the exact same number, 1832.
Yeah.
And then they come out with this news.
Yeah, the news, just in case you missed it, is that GE Capital has actually declared a special dividend back to the company. So GE Capital, which is a subsidiary of GE, cut its dividends to to the parent back in 2009. So they're going to start paying dividends here again, and they're going to pay up to 4.5 billion in dividends next year to the parent as well. So it's nice, basically, that GE Capital is saying, we've got enough money to start paying money back to our parent here now too, because GE Capital's obviously was, really putting the company back underwater in 2008, 2009. So if that company's more stable, I think that means, if that subsidiary is more stable, means the company is more stable, and that's why you're seeing such a pop. So interesting, that they did say good stuff, and they are saying good stuff again. So if you're a believer in the past, Joel, what are you saying, that it could have a nice big continuation move here?
It gave it a nice pop last time. And so if you tried to get out ahead of it last time when they did this, it did get up over $20. So I would have to see what happens in 19 here. I just don't think I could just rush out and buy this thing here right off the open. This is a huge move for GE in the pre-market. I would keep an eye on this $19 area. Even if it got above there, 1905 was a pre-market high. So I'd let this one shake out because 19 will be a very good swing number. We've also talked about GE on the weekly outlook, and this stock just hasn't even made a new 52-week high in the move. Is nowhere near even taking back a 50% retracement of its 2008 move, down from the $35 area. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see, if this could shake it up. But $19, Dennis, would be a good swing level.
Yeah.
Have you stopped shopping at J.C. Penney or what?
Man, J.C. Penney, this is a company, and obviously it's had some ridiculous spikes up in the past more on short covering, I think, than anything else. Little short squeezes they've had there back in January. Yeah, that huge short squeeze. The stock went from 34 up to like 42. 43. What was the news back then? You remember what the news was back then when it had that huge spike up day, Joel, back in late January?
Was it they were redoing their stores?
I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, I remember us thinking on that show, like, this stock, JCPenney, not to cut it up, they've got obviously great real estate where they are all at. They're, headquartered in all the major malls. They've got, nice, but really, does anybody really shop there anymore, Joel?
I don't know. I don't shop at any of these places. I mean, I think a lot of this ballyhoo started about a year ago, Dennis, when they brought over that Ron Johnson or whatever
Yeah.
from Apple,
Yeah.
and that started the momentum. It traded up to 35 and traded back down, and
Yeah.
I mean, these companies to me, I mean, they're just all so similar. Kohl's,
Right.
Target,
Right.
JCP. I just want to short all of them.
I just want to short all of them. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying on some of these retailers. It's like there's so many retailers out there, and I go in a lot of them. Even like the Dillards, I keep saying, you go in that store, there's nobody in there. I don't know how these companies continue to make money. So, but that being said, obviously JCPenney's struggling here this morning. It's at 28.15 right now, so taking out every major support level that we've got here in the last 6 months. 30, I thought might have a little stopping point, cut right through there like a hot knife through butter. So if it gets back up to that 30 area, I think you'll definitely be greeted with some sellers, Joel. If it really, really went into sell-off mode, I'm not saying that's going to happen today, but at Target, there's huge support down here at 25. I'd like, if it got down to that 25 area, I might try for a trade down there. Definitely not an investment though.
Well,
It ain't going to get there today, but I'm just saying for you swing traders out there, a little longer-term target on you, $25 looks huge on this.
yeah, that'd only be down $8 on the day.
Well, it's down 5.
Yeah, well, you know how the Green Mountain Coffee goes, but let's just give traders a little something better to look at here, Dennis. The immediate spike was 27.80. Okay,
Yeah.
and we did get a pop over $30, up to 30.30 on that, and now we're coming back down here around the $28 level. 28.12 is where we're currently trading.
Yeah.
You gotta believe that people have been short this thing. I mean, even if you were short, 3 days ago at 35, I mean, 28 is a gift horse in the mouth. I don't see a ton of volume. Do you see the volume associated with this? I got 157. I just don't know if that was from just last night, though.
I got
So
I got the same. 150.
yeah, so I mean, 28. If I was short, I'd be buying it at 28, down to 27.80. Looking for a pop up to the $29 level. And just to go back to a little revisionist trading here, we had talked about that pre-market low on Home Depot yesterday at 47.60. It opened a little bit below that level and then dipped below it down to 47.23, and then when it came back up through that open, it was like a dip and rip. So the same here with the $28 level in JCPenney.
Moving on here, Joel, we had a couple other retailers that reported. Target reported, and man, I'm going to tell you, these pre-market highs, some people are just retarded because, and sorry about saying that, but 58.99 this thing traded to in the pre-market. I don't know what people are doing. Like, is there some, just buy it up there. There's so much major resistance up there in that 58.95. You're going to buy this thing up over $4 on an initial spike off earnings right into resistance. Obviously it's peeled way back, it's trading 56.05, but somebody got a stock off there and selling it up at 58.99, and it traded quite a bit up there, Joel, in the whole 58.90 area or whole 58, 57. Do you see what all the prints were up there like after the report?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it was 10,000 shares. I mean, it went from 52 to 58.99. That was just not a not a lot of volume on it, but 10,000 shares roughly. Traded 100,000 shares in the pre-market. I wouldn't even give any credence to that 58.99 high. Really, since things have settled down, Dennis, 57's pretty much kept a cap on this. The range has been basically from 55.80 to 57. I would use those parameters lightly as positions. And looking at the chart too, Dennis, major resistance anywhere up above 58.5 to 59. I don't think that 58.99 is going to come into play today.
No way at all. 58 starting from resistance, but I don't even know if we're going to see 57 here again on this thing. Somebody just got really excited. Abercrombie and Fitch, another one, ANF, it reported it's trading down here, Joel, 42.36. after closing at 45.40, so it's cutting through a lot of its support as well. I don't see much until this little double bottom we had back in February of $40.31, and we had the other bottom was 40.25. I'll call that whole area $40, and that is major support. But we're $2 away from there. But I've seen this Abercrombie one. This thing can move sometimes $7 or $8, off an earnings report. So don't be shocked, if it does, end up really if it got some momentum going, that it can pull back.
It's about a buck off its low. Dennis hit a low of 41.61
Right.
and 41.62. So I'd have to guard that area. I understand anything under $42. I think you're going to find buyers in this stock. I mean, considering it was trading over $50, over a little over a week ago. The pops in the pre-market have been struggling at 43 and a quarter. So let's keep an eye on a 41.61 as support and resistance at 43 and a quarter.
Deere reported earnings here too this morning, Joel, and stock actually getting a little bit of a lift. 77.62 after closing at 76.62, so it's up $1 here in the pre-market, Joel. Yesterday's range and high was 77.84, but this Deere popped up a little bit more than that. How high did Deere get here so far in the pre-market, Joel?
Deere leaped to $79.
$79, so that was a little bit overdone too. People get excited off these earnings reports, and they sometimes just end up paying a little bit more than you probably should. That's why if you're trading off these earnings reports, and sometimes I do as well, just sit back and let the let it basically figure out where it wants to go. Give it a couple minutes, because if you're sitting here and saying, oh, it's a great report, I'm going to buy it up $2, man, that's a scary thing to do.
Okay, and looking at the pre-market activity, we had talked about that 79 high. Since it's made the 79 high, 77.50 has been the low. So if you're thinking of buying this thing off the open, keep an eye on that 77.50. If in fact it does peel through there, you're already back into yesterday's range, and who knows, this thing could get back down to settlement.
That $76, if it ever went into sell-off mode too, is huge now too, Joe. I almost got a double bottom for him in there because he had a 75.92 from early April, and then obviously yesterday 76.11.
Yeah.
So you could call that whole $76 a double bottom. I mean, that's a bullish pattern if it really starts to take off from here too. So keep that in mind, that there is a potential double bottom in place on this stock now. GM, Joel, Warren Buffett disclosing a new position in GM, 10 million shares. Stock is trading up. 21.42 is where it closed, trading 22 and a quarter. Getting a nice pop for GM. What do you think?
Did he disclose whether he was long or short?
10 million shares long. So Buffett
10 million
Buffett
shares
don't go
long.
short too often.
Oh, well, geez. You know how, being from the Motor City, how we love to see these stocks, do something. With that being said, Dennis, the pre-market high, 22.51. We're trading a little bit off that. I mean, this is just, I don't know if Warren consulted his technical analyst on this, or he's just trying to buy a dip or whatever. $23 is major resistance. Just getting a little fundamental on you here. I mean, it's just, kind of like the GE, the GM, the Ford. I mean, I just think those are companies of the past.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be your growth stocks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's looking at this for a scalp. I mean, they have the cars. I mean, the stocks that, I don't want to say Facebook here, but just, what's going to be the new driver for this?
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to come out with, a new kind of car? I mean, it's just, I just don't see where the growth is going to be in GM or Ford, and the stocks definitely show that. And then also you have the government long a boatload at $32, so that's hanging over the stock. I mean, I just can't get all excited about this purchase.
Yeah, I'm not really that excited about it either. Like Warren Buffett likes to, he's a value investor. He's not buying this for a scalp. He's probably buying it, for a long-term play. He must think, that the fundamentals in the auto industry are starting to turn around. Or maybe this, 10 million shares, so it's not a huge investment relative to his overall portfolio, but so maybe he's just dipping his toe in here, starting a position, and maybe possibly to buy more if it goes down lower. But 10 million shares for somebody like us is obviously a lot of money. He did lighten his position in Intel too, but Intel is trading up. It's not one we've talked about a lot here. Obviously, this stock has pulled back significantly from those highs that it set there just earlier this month. That double top up there at 29.27. We're now almost looking like you could add a double bottom in place if it holds 26.75 and yesterday's low 26.82. Joel, it's up a little bit here. Huge support on this 26.5. Like look back to February, March, we bottomed out there a million times at 26.5. It gets to there, I'd almost think it's got to bounce there once, anyways. What do you think of Intel?
Yeah, there's a lot. I see the pattern there. This thing sold off after earnings, then bumped up and made a new 52-week high, and just kind of with the rest of the market, just kind of sold off. I mean, this stock has had a nice return. I think that. I mean, I don't want to really put it in the GM Ford GE category, but I mean, they're selling their processors. The Apple and industries help it. They provide chips for that. But boy, I tell you, I just don't see the stock ever going back to to $50.
Yeah, no. Well, I think $50. I think people would be happy if it got back to 29. But I'll tell you, this 28 area is big resistance on this thing now too. So, chart not looking as nice as it did a couple of weeks ago. That's for sure. Other stocks in the Big Ten we should cover. Apple did take out that 555 low yesterday, Joel. It is bouncing a bit here today. I mean, it is concerning, though. That 555 was absolutely huge. It got as low as 551.75 yesterday. Is this a bounce to sell?
Well, just real quickly, Dennis, I just want to point out we had been talking about that gap from 552 to 555.75 that it had back in March.
Okay.
And lo and behold, yesterday it gets down to 551.75. Now we are getting a bounce in the pre-market, Dennis. I mean, I just don't see why you need to rush out and buy the stock right now. I mean, it's been in a major sell-off mode. The market is getting a pop here, off the GE and the GM news, sucking Apple along with it. I don't think I could get real excited about owning this stock until it can get back and hold that 560 level again.
Yesterday's high is 563. That might be a nice number to try to lean on up there if you think, the stock is going to have another break. I mean, if you're bearish stocks and the stocks start to pop $3, $4, $5 on macro news, that's usually a pretty decent opportunity to try a short here. So something to think about on Apple anyways. I think it takes out this 550. I think it's going to be in a world of hurt. So keep an eye on Apple for sure today. Chevron did go ex-dividend, just to alert our listeners to 90-cent ex-dividend. The adjusted close is $100 even. There's just a ton of support down here in the Chevron. Joe, you got a take on that?
That 151 was a big level that had been the low of the move so far. Was able to cut through that yesterday. Now you have the ex-dividend play. So here's a play where the people buying it into the dividend, unless they bought it very late in the day yesterday or underwater, was kind of surprised at the weakness in the stock yesterday. But if it could get back above this 101 area, you perhaps could get a pop on it.
And for full disclosure, I do have a position in Chevron as well. Really, that's all I've really got for you today. Obviously, your big movers here. JP Morgan, maybe we should just talk about it quick. It is popping up a little bit here today, bouncing 36.80 it's trading right now, so it is up 55 cents with the broad market rally here, Joe. We're up 8 points now. Yesterday's low 36.12. I'd keep an eye on that. If it can hold that level, maybe it continues higher. We got yesterday's high up there at 37.27. So there's a number for you to keep your eye on as well. What's your take on this JP Morgan?
Well, of course, it's got that huge gap to fill, which between 37.99 and 40.54 doesn't look like it's going to be doing that anytime soon. Keep an eye on the pre-market high at 36.94. Got to imagine there'll be some sellers at 37 as well. You do have, it's not, you can't really call it a double bottom, but 36.12 was yesterday's low, and 35.76 was the low from Monday. So let's just keep a whole eye. If you're like a long-term player and you want to start nibbling at the JP Morgan, perhaps you get a little shot here around 36 or under. May be a place to try a lower risk long.
That's all I've really got here, Joel. Up 7.5. Anything you want to close with on the SPOOs?
Oh, I know. I mean, we're always like so bearish, Dennis, and then the market sells off, and then sells off even more overnight, and now you just get you're getting a big pop. The only thing I would warn our traders about here is we've already had nearly a 17-point range in the S&Ps, basic 16-point range. The average daily range for the SPOOs over the last 10 days, 2 weeks has been around 20 points. So if you're trying to get long off the open here, maybe you get another 4 points in this thing before you get a pullback. But I look for this whole 1330 handle to be pretty wicked as it was yesterday. That's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.